Hey, good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, June 5th, 2016. It's 10 o'clock p.m., and I am here with the amazing Sam Gonzo. Hi, Sam.
I don't think it's amazing, but okay.
Oh, yes, you are. And this is the vent where you can vent with the purpose of finding a positive solution and getting on your way. But anyways, hi, Sadie. How are you,
That's
Sadie?
Sadie.
So, how was your weekend?
Mine was good.
Oh,
Just Friday was my birthday. Saturday was a birthday party for my niece.
that was right. It was your birthday, wasn't it?
So yeah. So
So, did you do anything fun for your birthday or interesting or
I babysat on my birthday,
dangerous?
but yesterday I had I forgot what kind of tequila it was.
You drink tequila? What?
I know it's been since 2012. So
Wow.
my sister's boyfriend's cousin was like, "Oh, you need to stay sitting down. As soon as you take a shot of this, you're gonna drop." And I was like, "No, it was only 80 proof, so it wasn't even that strong."
Oh.
So
Hi, Mo. Hi, Edson. Why are you sad? Let's see who is
I met her.
Meta. Would you like to talk about it? Hi, Chaz.
It's smoky.
So I'm glad you had a good birthday.
Yeah. Meta, why you sad, man?
Yeah. And if anybody would like to come on and chat or discuss, please feel free. That's what the show is about and for, just for you guys.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was very busy and productive and fun. Yes, it was great. A lot of projects going on and it's busy, but I'm loving every minute of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
How you doing, Mo?
Did
Yo,
you want to
Alex
say hi?
or Manuel, what's up, man?
Yeah. What about
How was your guys' weekend? In the chat.
Edson? Do you like to go by Edson? Or is it Louis or Vargas or not sure? So, yes, last week, am I in the West? Yes, I'm in California, San Diego. Last week was very interesting and fun. You know, it's so crazy. Like my perception is like nothing's really ever bad. I I like to look at problems. I don't even like to say the P word. I like to say challenges or obstacles. Helps me deal better. But yes, it was all good. So much good stuff happening. And I know for you, Sam, too, you're going to be pretty busy this week, huh?
I think Tuesday is going to be my busiest day. But besides that, there's always something going on every single day of the week. I usually get like 3 to 4 hours of sleep and just go. So
Yeah, same here.
everything's interesting.
Got to keep it real and interesting
Right.
and fun. Because if it's not, then it's not worth it. Are you on a mag? A few of them, but a while ago. Thank you. You can check out my website. I'll type it in for you. I don't think any of my old stuff's on there. Hi, JP. What's up? JP, do you want to come on? So nice to see you're here. Hi, Dino.
Hey, Dino.
I did, yes. Sir. We just started. Where have you been? What have you been up to? Who you been? Where you going? Good. So, had a staycation weekend. I love that. Staycation. I got to use that more often. What's up, JP? You always come up with the coolest words, like your own language.
JP is pretty cool.
JP rocks. Well, I hope you had a good vacation, JP. No, you rock. No, you rock. No, you're awesome.
I'm just going to clear the air and say everybody's awesome.
Yes, everybody's awesome. We're all awesome.
In our own little way.
Yes, well, if anybody would like to come onto the platform, we'd love to have you. Or if not, you can type from the text if you're more comfortable, or whatever your groove is. So I was going to talk about, I just had a couple questions. I'm in the process of making my very first course, and I wanted to get some feedback. Okay. So it's about basically having the concept where less is better. Living with less is better. Like you don't need all those outside things in the world to make you feel fully fulfilled. You know, I mean, like obviously, if you like nice things and everything, that's fine. But it's more deeper along the lines of how to be happy being you and not have to have your compare yourself to others. You know, related to like your status. What kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in, what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of friends you have, who you know, like, you know, all just being like really authentic and the real you. Like when I feel, and I could be wrong, right? This is just my opinion. I feel when you are completely whole and real and right and honest with yourself, and you know yourself and you love yourself and you have such a healthy self-respect that you don't have to look to outside things to make you happy. And friends are overrated. I know. I agree. Someone's calling in. Do you want to get that, Sam?
I can't get that.
No? Or you can't?
No, like I literally can't. I don't have hosts.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hang on one second. I thought, okay, just one minute. Oh, you should have told me. There you go. Well,
he came out and left.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoever was just calling in,
It was Edson.
Edson, call in again. I'm sorry. I was having technical difficulties because I forgot to make Sam host. So go ahead, babe. Call in again. But yeah, anyways, so I'm going to be doing a lot of different courses, but that's just going to be the beginning one. And it's going to be more about like how to, you know, find out what your passions are, which in turn you find out your purpose, and where you don't have to, you know, live in the fear of having security to, on a monetary basis, to be really secure and wholly happy, and things don't make you happy. Like you yourself can be happy. And again, like I'm not opposed to making a lot of money or anything like that. I like nice stuff and everything, but it's just when it gets to the point, I mean, when people are like jumping off buildings because they lost $1 million in an investment, or, you know, I've seen a lot of, and I'm not like targeting any like housewives or anything, but, you know, they just spend thousands and thousands and thousands, like keep buying the next thing that they think makes them happy, and then in the long run they go to bed miserable, and it's happening. It's like a vicious cycle. And there's lots of people out there that I've seen personally, and you know, I'm all about giving back and helping others. So I feel it's time to do, and I'm pretty qualified, I feel, to do that. So because I just went through the whole process myself, and I know from experience how challenging it can be. And
I was
then why
gonna say,
you don't have money.
when people lose money, like earlier this year when China, their stocks went down, and then stocks here in the U.S. started going down. I actually had investment in a company, and all the money I had in that company gone 2 weeks. They never bounced back either. So I was like, okay, but I took my losses and just went with it. You know,
Right. That happened to me about 10 years ago. I lost 60,000 in a Ponzi scheme, and this guy was good. I mean, he even had Michael Jordan investing, and I mean, it was crazy. And I even had my dad invest, which I felt really bad about. He lost his money too. But yeah, it was just like, well, what can you do? You know, you can't change the past, learn the lesson. And it's like all this stuff that we accumulate in life, all the things that we have, we can't take them with us to the next world or realm or dimension or wherever we go. You know, it's just like what we can take is the love and experiences and you know, the relationships that we've created and with humans, other human beings, and the memory of that. At least I believe. So
I hope we could take that memory over.
yeah, we do. And I'm just saying that from experience because I dabble a little bit in the other realm, but that's for another story topic. From what I've seen personally. But yeah, it's not like, okay, if you want to have a burial or something at your funeral, they can't like fit all your shit in there. You know, it's not like
It's not worth it. I mean, everything's a luxury item when it comes to like trying to own things like the biggest TV, the best car. After you die, it goes away. It doesn't go with you. So, I mean, I like stuff too. Like I got a ton of items here, like with me in my room, and I could care less if something happens to them.
Yeah. And I
Like
think
I'm not attached to it.
Yeah. I think that's what it boils down to. Like Dr. Wayne Dyer, a few years ago, I was watching one of his interviews, and he said that he purposely gets rid of everything in his office and then starts over. It's like he's just not attached. He's like, when it's okay to have things and have whatever you want, but when it gets to the point where if you are like disturbed or sad because you don't have that thing that's tangible, then that's not true happiness, you know. I mean, like the Chewbacca lady, I loved that video. I mean, but like, I'm sure like she would survive without the mask. You know, she was just like,
right.
I'm sure, you know, she's going to have fun with it for a little bit, and then it's just going to be just another thing. Like that's
Just
my
throw
point.
it to the side, and something else is going to come along.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It does become much. Right. I know. I've been trying to downsize myself after moving, and it's so easy now for me to just get rid of things, and I just donate them and like whatever. I don't need that. I don't need that. Before, right. When I was younger, I was like, no, I might wear it someday, even though I haven't worn it in 7 years. It's ridiculous.
Even when I was younger, like I want to say like my early 20s, everything that I had, it was replaceable with anything. Like I could have got rid of it anytime. Like I got rid of TV. I mean, a lot of people, they can't live without TV, and I could care less for it. I haven't watched it since I was in 2009. So it's 2016. It's been 7 years. JP's
awesome.
calling in.
Good for you. I did the same thing. I don't watch TV anymore at all. Like, I think it's I mean, for me personally, and I don't judge if you watch TV, like thank you. There's so much other stuff to do in life. I'm my own television. Like my life is my show. Are you oh, you know, I can't do that.
JP, try again real fast.
Good for you, Manuel.
Yeah, like I would see my nieces and nephews watching something on TV. Like earlier yesterday they were watching a movie called Martian or something like that, and like my sister was like, "So, have you seen this show?" I was like, "Yeah, I've seen it, but that doesn't mean I want to sit down, sit in the living room and watch it." You know,
Yeah. What's going on with
it's refreshing.
refreshing? Okay. Is that what throbbing means?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Funny. Learn something new all the time.
It's when his bubble just pulses there, drops there inside the screen.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to get in, but it's not connecting.
So I finally have the high-speed internet that
They were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's a lot different than the past couple of times you've been on.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the video recordings now, like when I rewatch them, I'm like, everybody else is clear but me.
It happens.
Yeah. You got them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk to JP. It's been a bit.
I hope he could connect.
Me too. Oops.
Manual is set to close the browser out. We'll bump you for a second. Oh, done.
Could it be something on our end?
No. Usually what happens is like if there's a lot of cache and cookies in his history, you may have to clear that out. I could go for months without clearing mine out, and it'll be fine. Some people are just different, though, when it comes to that stuff.
Yes. So, I also just wanted to reiterate, like, the purpose of the event is, I think it's important that people have like a safe, encouraging, supportive, loving, compassionate place to just, it's not that you're being negative or anything, but just letting it out and like talking about stuff. Like, you remember, Sam, like the other night when I first was doing my first blab or whatever. I mean, it was real. Like, I mean, there was a grown man crying, a girl crying. I mean, it was so cool to see. And it seems like sometimes in life, we don't take time out to just get it all out and then move on. And that's important because keeping things inside, I mean, even when I don't like express how I'm really feeling, like I notice it leaks out in my life. Then I'm just like bitchy. Like when I don't mean to be, or like the littlest things upset me when normally they wouldn't upset me. Like yesterday, I think I kind of had one of those days. I'm like, what is going on with me? Things are pissing me off. That doesn't usually piss me off or push my buttons. So
I know it wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Like people were asking me, where was you at? I wasn't even on Blab yesterday. I was like, I was just enjoying real life stuff.
Yeah. Too much in your life to vent, but don't. Well, do you want to start?
Yeah, you want to start? Come on, man.
But then to not only like get it out, but get it out, feel good about it, and then find the blessing in it. Because there really is an opportunity and a blessing in every situation, whether it's good or bad. It's just a perspective that tells us, so. So
Right.
I'm like an expert at finding the good in every situation. And yeah, it's funny. Like I just think it's cool. And especially you, Sam. I mean, you already helped so many people and all the shows that you do and everything. Like I think between the two of us, we could help whoever needs it.
Well, me helping was it's easy for me to do.
Mm-hmm. Comes natural.
Yeah, it's a natural thing. It doesn't I don't mind talking to anyone or explaining different ways to try to get them to see things like different pictures.
Mhm.
It's just somebody can say something to me and I could probably find out like different solutions on how to help them.
Absolutely. And, you know, somebody like hearing it from a different perspective, it seems sometimes like when I hear things in a different perspective, but I'm already thinking that what that person said, but I hear it from their point of view, I'm like, oh, okay. It's kind of like the outsider insider position. When you're the insider, you don't really see clearly what's going on until you kind of take a step back and you look, you know, you look at the whole circumstance, because it's so easy to be just so enveloped and involved. And that's why it's nice to be accountable, have accountability people. And
Also, if you're thinking a situation one way and someone comes in and says almost the same thing to do it that way, that's just a way of confirming to yourself that it's what you have to do.
yeah, confirmation. I absolutely agree. So, Manuel, you didn't want to type in or come on or to vent about why you have so much going on in your life or what? We might be able to help you see the good in it all. Because it's there. The goodness is there.
He's a good guy.
And,
I've
you
been
know,
on him for a couple months.
Oh, how is it that and I don't mean to be rude or pry, but if you're thinking about it, and you have so much going on, wouldn't it be easy to just get it all out? Or maybe that's not your style. I don't know. Like I said,
Take
I'm
it
not
step by step.
Well, hopefully JP comes back. Oh, there's JP. Okay, he just got back in.
JP's back. He probably had to relog in and everything like that.
Oh, okay.
Usually takes a couple minutes. JP, you want to try again?
I have. What does it mean when you get a tweet tweet from Blab?
A tweet from Blab, like retweet?
No, well, maybe. I don't know. What? Bummer. Do I have something on these settings that's maybe?
It wouldn't be you.
No. Bummer.
It's either the site or the connection.
Okay. So where did your picture go, JP or Sam? I don't see your. Why do you have hands instead?
Oh, because when I get prompts.
No, on your profile. It's the props one. For your picture?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can't see me though on this camera.
I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay. For a second there, you like everything went robotic-y for me. It was probably loading.
Maybe when you started the Blab, someone retweeted it. Oh, okay, perfect. It'd be easy, but some of my problems go back a long while. Well, even better to start now. So
Yeah, like one of my biggest problems from the past was when I found out my an ex of mine cheated on me when I was getting a job and everything like that, lined up in Oklahoma. That was crazy.
so yeah. But what did you do to get through it?
I just went on with life. I didn't care. I did at first, but actually last year is when I actually like forgave one of the persons that helped me realize that my ex was a cheater. Because the only reason why I found out was I was like, I'm coming home for a couple weeks, and then I'm going back. And the whole purpose for that was to bring my fiance down with me. Well, a good friend of mine, I called him up at the time. I was like, hey, I'm in town. Nobody knows. Can I come over and just chill? And he said, yeah, the front door is always open to you. So I show up. He says, just walk in when you get here. I'll probably be in my room. I was like, okay. I walk in. I go to the room, knock on it. He says, come in, catches them.
What? That's crazy.
His thing was he wanted me to catch her. But the thing I asked myself and him a month later was, I understand that he wanted to catch me, but why did it have to be with you? You know?
There we go.
Yeah.
JP, finally made it in, bro.
I know.
What is up?
Hey.
I love your picture.
A few years ago.
A few?
Probably like 20.
Yeah. So
I was going to say like 12. Or 20 years ago is what you're saying.
Ew. So how was your staycation?
It was great. Yeah, so staycation is kind of a neat phrase. Basically, it's a vacation right in your town, you know. So some people will like book a hotel, 5 miles away or whatever, and pretend like they're visiting their town for the first time, like you're going to go on vacation, do things you don't normally do. So it's kind of fun. Let's see, we went to a bluegrass festival on a battlefield because there was a Civil War. There was a big battle during the Civil War. It's like a park area in our, like right outside our town, and they held there was an original farmhouse from like the 1850s, 60s, and so they held the bluegrass festival on the grounds, and they shot off cannons and like vintage cannons from the Civil War era. Just like just sort of like chill kind of stuff to do,
Right.
And let's see what else. We went to a gem collectors science outdoor festival where they collect all kinds of stones and gems and polish them and sell them, and that wasn't really so much of a staycation, but went downtown to a hotel, had ate at the new hotel, and just stuff that tourists would do. We did like a tourist kind of a circuit, and
that's cool.
A couple of things. Yeah.
Oh, this was in your same town?
Yeah.
That you live in?
Yeah.
I'm adding your vocabulary. I have this notepad on. Whenever I hear a cool word or like a quote or something that somebody says, I write it down on this thing and put their name next to it. So I'm putting staycation JP Freeman.
Yep. And also flew kites. Like I haven't flown a kite since I was probably early teens. So I went and flew kites, and it was actually fun. It was.
That is so cool. I think it's so important to stay kid-like. Do stuff that's...
Yeah, really important. Exactly. So,
let's see here. Manuel said one problem involves my mother, another involves my PTSD, and then my other has to deal with making sure my family is taken care of. Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot on your plate.
Right.
Well, at least your mother's alive, so are you. Post-traumatic stress syndrome is something that's definitely dealable, although I have met a few, especially with my ex-husband being in the CIA. I have met a few people personally where that was a problem, and they worked through it, and they were able to get through it accurately and successfully with counseling and stuff. But your family's taken care of. What do you do, like for work or to make money?
Says he's
JP, do you have any advice for that? Because let's see, you don't have. Do you have kids?
Me, I have a daughter. She lives in New York. Um, so yeah, I raised a kid, but she was the perfect child, so I never had any issues.
Yeah.
Daddy's girl kind of thing. So yeah, it looks like well, in his profile it says he's an inspector and a welder. I think welding would be cool to learn how to do.
Yeah. Like I hear about the underwater welding all the time, and that sounds fun. I don't know why. But as far as the making sure your family is taken care of, one thing I can recommend is to not think of them as always being taken care of. Don't think of the lack of them being taken care of, and have faith and trust that that's going to be, like, make a blueprint. Like, how do you want them taken care of? And constantly focus on the good aspects of that blueprint, and don't 1 minute ever get the fear and the doubt of worry or fear that it's not going to happen, because that's kind of where we mess ourselves up through the law of attraction. You're thinking and stuff. If you understood how the law of attraction really works in the universe, it's like we are the ones that get in our own ways. And we know we're creators or co-creators in life. At least I believe. I could be wrong. I don't know. But when you are co-creating from a place of positivity and love and whatnot, everything's always taken care of. And you know what? There's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be things that happen that aren't so comfortable. And that's just life. It's how you deal with it. It's how you get through those things, right. How you handle them, then what you do after the fact, instead of staying stuck in the past. Or one thing I know for sure is you can't ever go back and change the past. You can't change things that happen. You can change what you do about them and how you react to them and what you do from there and how you move forward. And I know, like, working with other people and giving back kind of like takes the pressure off of you and what's going on in your life. It's like it's a natural antidote for just stress in general. I mean, like, okay, stop thinking about yourself. Go help someone, like, when you're in that state, and just watch what it does. Watch how you feel afterwards. Even if it's just one little thing that you do for someone, just get out of your head and go help someone. That always works for me.
I'm not sure helping people actually brings you more joy than anything else, because when you can help someone if they're in a certain situation, mm-hmm. and bringing a smile to them, it brings that uplifting joy to you as well as to them. So
absolutely. And like, I always,
one of the worst moods ever, and then by helping someone out, it can actually boost both of your guys' spirits.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I always say someone else always has it worse, which I don't like to think about, but it's true. And I feel fortunate that my little minuscule thing that I'm going through, I mean, there's third world countries right now that are like, bad stuff's happening, and I just try to be grateful for every single little thing. Gratitude is another key to lift your mood and your spirit.
Right.
I mean, even if it's just grateful that, like,
mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that I have clothes on my back right now. I'm grateful that I'm warm, or just something.
Right.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Was the question framed? I mean, maybe I didn't hear it. Our Marine veteran answered the question. One problem involves my mother, another involved my PTSD, and then my other was to deal with making sure my family is taken care of. What was the question that prompted him to type that? Do you remember?
Oh, I was asking if anybody needed to vent about anything.
Oh, so
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as far as your mother goes, your mother's always going to be your mother, probably. Everybody's, pretty much got one, and especially when you get older, you can't change them. All you can do is love them and separate yourself from any the drama, if there's drama in that relationship. Take the high road if you have to. Maybe I'm not sure the details, but I'm just trying to think of people that I know that do have issues with their one or both parents. So we can control our attitude. We cannot control other people.
Right.
I think it all. Oh, go ahead, Tiffy.
I would, when he talks about, I hope he's not suggesting that taking care of his family is a problem. I would look at that as a privilege to be able to take care of your family, and an act of giving of yourself to some people that only you can do. There's no other person on the earth that can give yourself to your family the way that you do. There's nobody on the planet. Hey, what's up, Manuel?
What's up, man?
Hi, Colin. Sorry, I just want to say hi, Colin. Thanks for joining.
There's nobody on the planet that could fill the shoes that you fill the way you fill them, Manuel, for your family, for your wife, kids.
Well, what I said about my family is meaning that they're taken care of, meaning, having that they have a roof over their head, have food on the table, stuff like that. Right now I work a lot, and it's I work 6/12 a week, and I got the privilege of getting this weekend off, but my problem is right now I'm working a lot to bring in money for my wife and my child so they can have this stuff. And sometimes I don't know if it's my wife. Sometimes she likes it that I'm working because I'm making money, and sometimes she's like, "Well, you're working too much. Can you get a day off?" It's like it's a flip flop. So that's what I meant by that. Just making sure that they're happy enough for what I'm doing and satisfying them. But as far as my mother goes, she's a. How much time do you guys have? She's a long.
Yeah, I guess as much as you want to give us until Tiffany says, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Vent away.
Could I just say something about, us guys, men, we have this kind of, we want to take care of our wife, our kids, we want to make sure, we want to provide. We have a very strong desire to provide. But can I say that sometimes us, testosterone-filled men overdo it. And honestly, what the wife, our significant other, our special angel in the form of a woman, what they really want is your heart and your time. And so maybe go without the 2016, Toyota 4Runner. Maybe be satisfied with a 2012 Honda, SUV, and take the extra $100 and cut off a few hours a week. It really is communication between you and her. But it sounds like what she's saying. What I heard you say that what I heard your wife say through your words right now is that she wants more time with you.
Yeah, it's kind of with her. It's kind of like okay, we don't have enough money, or where's our money? But then, like, when I get paid the next time, it's like, okay, well, we just got paid, so you can take a couple of days off. I guess it just depends. But right now, my wife is under a lot of stress too, just because we just got done with a big move, and my mother stresses her out as well. But she's not mentally there right now, as far as her stress level. So she's back and forth on what she wants, but. So my family, I'm doing the best I can with them, but my biggest thing right now is my mother, which I'm trying to deal with, but it's just not working.
Can I step in and offer some advice, because I think I feel way qualified here, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I've had my mom. You probably don't even know my story, but anyways. So I started smoking when my mom and I started smoking crack when I was 11, and she introduced me to shooting up heroin and cocaine when I was 13. And I don't say this, and please don't judge my mother. She's an amazing woman. She was just lost a long time ago. She was in and out of jail, prison, everything my whole life. I think the last time she was got out was when I was 24. I'm 33 now. And you know, she's always been like the friend kind of mom and whatever. And I was so hurt and so over, like, just trying to get my hopes up for, oh, that maybe this time she'll do something better. Maybe this time she'll get it. Maybe this time she won't mess up anymore. And, you know, I really had to separate myself from her when she was being in her bad behaviors and take a step back and just really look at the situation for what it is. And she is my mom. She is going to be the way she's going to be. I have no control over that. And I can either choose to accept it and not participate in her negativity and her unhealthiness, or I can feed in her bullshit and be right there playing in her little drama and allowing that in my life. And there was a long, long time where I allowed to be miserable in that relationship because I'm the one that kept talking to her. I'm the one that kept inviting it, kept participating. And once I went 2 years without talking to her, and it was super hard for me, but I had to make the decision because really I was the participant. It takes two people, you know, to participate in anything, any exchange. And I think she really got it. And so now we're like super, super close. This is, you know, later, obviously, but she's still the amazing childish woman that I love so much and that I've learned to accept so much. She's never gonna change, and I shouldn't try to change her. I shouldn't try to change anybody. I can only change myself. But I got to that state of acceptance and stopped blaming and judging, and it's on me. And no one can make me feel anything except for myself. If you're pissing me off, it's because I'm allowing you to piss me off. So if my mom was pushing my buttons, it's because I was allowing her to push my buttons. And really, at the end of the day, I'm the only one that has control over me. I can't change anything, any person, any situation, any fact in life except for myself. And that really helped me kind of shift my perspective and be like, you know, it's on me. If I want to let her piss me off, that's my fault. If I want to let her rant and rave, I'm not hanging up the phone. I'm choosing to stay on and listen and let her talk to me like that. Now, click. You know, so at the end of the day, it's all of our choices to let people do that to us. And I don't say that in a mean way or anything. I come with love and compassion always. But that for me was like the turning point. Like I was just like, you know, when you've had enough is enough. I'm sure you know you're in the military or we're in the military. It's like once you've had enough, you've had enough. And then you throw your hands in the air and you're done. And until it gets to that point where you can know and realize that really in life, nobody has control of making you feel a certain way except for yourself.
It's like setting boundaries for yourself, right, Tiffany? It really is. And then, well, that's the first step, is setting the boundary for yourself. Like saying, you know, I will not allow this person, this individual, their words, to cause me to react or retaliate in a way that might be unhealthy. And the next step after that is to let them know that, you know, give them the rules of the boundary. Like, I will no longer tolerate it when you talk to me in that way. I love you, but I can't. And can I go further and say, in Manuel's case, he's married, he's got children, he's working hard to support and do right by his family, according to the way, you know, Manuel was raised, or according to maybe he adopted his values without maybe a strong relationship with his dad. Maybe he's got a very strong.
Cut off, JP. So
that everybody just froze. Okay, now everybody's back. But this situation is a little bit, has more dynamics to it, because his mother is coming in and causing situations inside his home. So Manuel's in a tough position in a way, because he wants to maintain a healthy relationship with his mother. I mean, good grief, it's his mother, but he did leave and marry another woman and have children, and now he's trying to do right. And somehow that dynamic with his mother is now filtering into, to whatever degree, his situation, and causing, and perhaps, I assume it's presenting some type of burden that you guys would rather not have, you know? So
Yeah.
in some way, if I could just say, you know, just come right out and say it, Manuel, is that it's up to you to put a boundary on that sooner than later, before
Right.
it really causes, it just adds stress. And that is a tough phone call or a tough cup of coffee to have with your mother. I don't get me wrong, you know, but
My ex-husband was like, he forced me to not talk to my mother before. Like, literally, he's like, okay, that's it. I've had enough. We're done. You cannot talk to your mom. And for him, my husband to say that was like, okay. But then I was like, that's my mom. I mean, it was hard. I was torn. But he saw what she did, she was doing, or how I was reacting to her. And like, that is true, JP. You're so right.
Well,
I think
right
Manuel
now,
knows that. He knows this. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry. I'll be quiet.
everything you touched on was pretty much spot on. Like right now, my mom's gotten to a point where she's gotten to this point before me and my wife were even married. And my wife knows how much me and my mom's relationship bothers me, stressing me out. So she's known about it for, we've been married 4 years, been together for 9, so she knows about it now. And she's been there to try to help and, you know, and comfort me and as much as she could support. But it's gotten to the point where my mom is stressing her out because all the stress that she's putting on her now that we have an 18-month-old running around. So, for instance, which is one of the big things that started this event, a week ago, I was working. I worked the night shifts all the time. So when I was out working at night, my wife called me during the middle of an inspection. She's like, guess what your mom just did? And when she started off with that, I was like, oh, fuck, what did she do now? So, my wife and my in-laws were taking our son to get his first haircut, and they're paying for it, so that's the reason they were there with them. Well, the place where the haircut place is at like a Target shopping center, and my mom was driving to the Target shop. You know how like when you drive through a Target or a Walmart, right, the road's right in front of the shopping center, right there. My mom was driving down the road as they were walking to the haircut place, and my mom stops in the middle of the road, gets out of her vehicle with cars lined up behind her on the main road, gets out, goes to my wife, snatches my son out of her hands, and holds on to him and hugs him like, oh my God, I missed you, blah, blah, blah. Everything's so wrong. And my wife is just sitting there like, what the fuck are you doing, you dumbass? Like, you crazy lady. And so when my wife told me that, I was like, she did what now? And I got to a point where I got so stressed out that I had to leave work and go take a break and then come back later on. And I still haven't talked to my mom yet. That's why I'm kind of, this is helping, because she just so happened to go off and go to California for a week. So she'll be back, what's today, Sunday? Monday? She'll be back tomorrow. So, but just little things like that, you know, and I've tried to tell her that, Mom, you can't, me and you know, she knows we don't have a good relationship. We've had this conversation before. But ever since my child came 18 months ago, this is her first grandson, and I get that. But this is my family, not yours. And she does not get that part. And I'm trying to get.
Sounds like there's unfinished business between you and your mother. She did not go from the transition from being your mother to letting you go as her son. So what happened?
Right.
What happened there?
Like what initially happened? What caused all this?
Well, no, I'm suggesting.
Like deep, what happened in the past to her, like what created like your guys' relationship to be the way it is? Like, did something?
Well, first, my mom and dad went to divorce when I was 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it.
And so at that time, going through the whole divorce thing, you know, the courts and judges asked us, you know, the kids, where do they want to live? And my brother said my dad, because he's 4 years older than me. And I guess, I don't know, he just chose my dad. And I said, no, I'm going to go stay with mom. And So I stayed with my mom for about a year and a half. Towards the last half of that year and a half, it was getting to a point where my mom, I guess through the whole divorce stuff, she was just getting either stressed out herself or she was just going through a crazy phase. I don't know what it was. Couldn't honestly tell you, but she got to a point where she tried to attack me with the belt. And at this time, I was 15, close to 15. And she tried to attack me with the belt for no reason. And I'm not just saying no reason because there literally was no reason. And so I grabbed the belt from her out of her hands and I threw it to the ground. Well, when I grabbed it from her, she took that as me assaulting her. So she called the sheriff's department, had the sheriff's department come out and called me away for a couple hours. And so that right there kind of fueled it. It's like, first of all, Mom, I didn't assault you. Second of all, you're literally gonna have the sheriff take me off and haul me off to jail. Are you serious? And so she, at first I thought, because it came in, put me in handcuffs, walked me out to the cop car, and I sat out there for an hour. And I was like, kind of thinking to myself, okay, what's gonna happen? What? Didn't do nothing. And then the sheriff came out and we hit it off. I was like, what the hell's going on here? And at that point, me and my mom, it was our relationship was never the same because she allowed me to, get hauled off for no reason and without ever explaining to me why she let that happen. So at that point, once, I ended up calling my dad once I got to the jailhouse and telling him the whole thing, and he came and picked me up, took me back to my mom's, and I got all my stuff and I left. And ever since then, our relationship's never been the same. And I've tried talking about it, and it got to a point where as soon as I graduated high school, I already knew I was going into the military. And within a week after my graduation, I shipped off. I left because I didn't want to be around her so much. And once I left, she was like, oh, and she didn't get to a caring point back in her life until I was getting ready to go overseas for the first time. And that's when she kind of like started getting more emotional and kind of try to get involved. And, but then then I was like, okay, let's try to work things out, whatever. Well, working things out lasted for about 2-3 years. And then once I came back home, it all started back up again because I was around her more often. And then once, I got my girlfriend, and then we became engaged, and then we got married, it just escalated more and more from there. And then when we had our son, me and my wife had our son, it just blew up like a atomic bomb. So, and that's where we're at right now.
So it seems like there was never a resolve with that resentment that you both had. You had the resentment of her calling the cops on you, and she had the resentment of you going off to live with your dad. I mean, obviously she probably feels that she was in the wrong, so she feels bad naturally. So was never discussed again or resolved or anything?
It was discussed, and I tried to resolve it. I tried to work things out. And I try to set up boundaries or, set up a game plan. Like, okay, even when we had our child, I try to set up, I was like, okay, Mom, this is my family now. You're not going to be able to come over as you please and when you want. I'll let you know, stuff like that. Just because I knew how she's been acting with him ever since.
Right.
And even before then, when we set up boundaries, period, it would just, she would break them. She would break them within 2 days. It's like, you're not listening, you're not paying attention. And so it's hard to work with some. I've been trying to work with my mom, but it's hard when you're putting out all the effort and they ain't putting in shit.
So what do you do to work with her when she breaks those boundaries? Is there any disciplines or punishment? I mean, is there any reprimand? What happens?
in the past, I would kind of just break it off from her and not speak to her, period. I would just stop. And then every time she would call, I'd just, send her the voicemail or whatever. Well, then when she wouldn't call or talk for a while, and I had time to, all right, let me see if she's okay now. I'd call her and tell her, okay, look, this is what it's going to be. This is how it has to be. Okay, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And boom, right off the bat, a week later, it happened again. So now it's gotten to a point where, now what's really pissing me off is it got to a point where she goes and complains to my brother and to my dad about, oh, he won't let me see my grandson. He won't let me do this. He doesn't come visit me, blah, 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 blah. That's where it's at now.
Why does that piss you off?
That she has the nerve, after me and her have talked about a boundary zone, that she has the nerve to go and complain to my brother and my dad about something that we've already talked about.
So do you think that with you, would you say you've kind of exhausted all efforts of options and making an effort on your part to change her behavior so that it's in alignment with what you want?
Yeah, right now, like I said, I've tried. And we even got, before the whole incident happened this past week with my mom and my wife, with her snatching my son up out of my hands. Before that had happened, I had already told my wife, like, okay, yeah, because we just moved back down, because we used to live an hour away. Mm-hmm. So we just moved back down to where we originally live, where all our family and friends are. And I told my wife, like, all right, maybe we can have my mother come over, once a month, and do like a family dinner or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that was my plan, before all this shit happened. And then, all this went down, and that I kind of threw that idea out the window for now until I can talk to my mother and figure out what we're going to do ahead. So,
what's it going to take for you to get to that point where you are going to be like, absolutely no more communication until you change, to where you'll even get a restraining order if she doesn't listen? Because it seems like she keeps getting away with it because there's no reprimand that, it's just like a slap on the hand and then back to normal, slap on the hand and back to,
Yeah, I don't want to go getting a restraining order on my mom, but, if it's getting to where she's not listening and she's not paying attention. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I've had several, like this past month and a half, 2 months, I've talked to her about the situation. Like, I've even told her, like, Mom, it's not just a matter of, it's a matter of, one, we just moved to, it's a lot of stress. Our house isn't even ready to have people over yet. That's not the problem. The problem is we're both stressed out. We're both dealing with issues. And we're just not ready to have people over right now. It's not just you. Oh, okay, I explain. And she's like, well, I could always watch them for you. And I said, no, Mommy, we're not. We don't want nobody watching them for a while, stuff like that. She just keeps, she pushes, and I say, Mom, no. And then she's like, okay. And then so it gets to a point, a couple weeks later, days later, weeks later, she's back to asking these questions. When can I see you? When can we come over? It's like, I just told you last week. So I don't know what I'm going to do. When she gets back, I'm going to have a serious talk, like sit down, no shit, face-to-face talk, and just lay into her about what's going on and what she's been doing and how. And it's the funny thing, it's going to be like the third time I've had this talk with her in 4 years.
Do you think having a talk for the fourth time is going to solve it?
Probably not.
Can you think of anything more creative? I'm just asking. It's funny. I literally went through the same thing with my mom and when I was married, my ex-husband, for a long time until I just put my foot down and I said, you know what, this is not worth it. I know she's always going to be there. She's always going to do the things that she does until I stop allowing it from my life. And then that's what took her to wake up and to be like, oh my gosh, Tiffany's serious. Because I'd always just talk and talk and talk. And, we'd get in our arguments and whatever, like, that's just us. And like, no, like I meant my serious business that time. I mean, I was ready to have a restraining order put on her if that's what was needed. I was ready to just like walk away and not talk to her ever again. And I was pretty much, I mean, you should really get together with your wife and communicate more on the lines of that, because your marriage is really, I mean, that's your wife and you guys are a union. And I can only imagine how frustrating that is, especially as a woman, when, you can't come to or haven't yet come to a solution. But you just have to do something in an impactful way to where you mean business. It's kind of like training a dog, like there's always an alpha male and an alpha female. Like I just literally went through this with our little puppy, but they think that they can take over until you put them in their spot and they know who's boss. They're going to keep pushing the envelope a little bit more at a time.
Exactly. Do you see what happened, Manuel, on the timeline, the way you described that? Do you have an understanding of what happened since your parents divorced?
Yeah.
To me, it's clear as day what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't. It almost doesn't matter who divorced who between your parents, but if your mother was abandoned, if she did not file, but your dad did, that could have impacted further some of her behavior. I don't know. I would assume so, because if she felt in any way abandoned, and then what she did was she transferred that feeling of abandonment. She tried to compensate for that loss by drawing close to you in an unhealthy way.
Right.
She never let go.
Yeah, well, she herself sounds a little bit unhealthy, and I don't mean to be like, I'm not talking
Neither
shit.
do I. No, please. I really, all due respect. It's
funny though. Unhealthy as a mother come from anyways. That's not. I mean, it sounds like she has some inner work to do too. So
yeah.
She's definitely not healthy at all, and she's What I was saying earlier when I had mentioned how it pissed me off because she was going to my family, and you said what pisses you off. Well, I forgot to say that when she goes to my brother and my dad, she explains all this to them, and the way she explains it to them, and they come back at me, and she makes me look like I'm the bad guy, if that makes sense.
So she's playing the victim role when it comes to.
That's what pisses me off, is they think that I'm the bad guy, and another thing that pisses me off is I've even told my dad and my brother, and I've explained to them my reasoning, and all they tell me is, you just need to get over it. Just be the bigger guy and get over it, forgive her, and just let it happen. I was like, it doesn't. Yeah, you can try that, but if it doesn't work, then you're still in the same boat. So
if it doesn't work, move on and don't entertain it anymore. I mean, and you're gonna get to that point where you're literally just gonna be like, F it, I'm done. And it seems like maybe you need to, like, something tragic has to happen, like it did with me, to literally like just be done. Because I mean, it's so much easier said than done. And it's when it comes to our mothers, when it comes to our fathers, it's a hard place because they raised us, they gave birth to us, they made us,
Right. And then now there's a grandchild involved.
Yes.
And your mother feels entitled to have that relationship. And and the resentment will go deeper if you somehow, restrict that. In some way.
But there was a point where I wouldn't even, if I had a child, I would not let my child in front of my mom. I would not let my mom see my child, even though that was her only grandchild. I don't care. She's just was too unhealthy. I'm not suggesting that or anything. I'm just saying that's kind of what I went through at a point. But
that's what we're at right now. Is my mom's over here suggesting like, oh, she can come say, like, no, and I have my reasons for not wanting to stay with my son, stay with my mom either. One, because of our relationship, how it is. Two, my mom's been on 3 separate occasions have had warrants out for arrest for not paying, tickets and shit like that, and where police have come to her home and picked her up, and I had to go bail her out. I don't want my mom staying. I don't want my son staying with my mom for that reason, being that I don't know where her tickets are. I don't know if she's paid them. I don't know if she has any outstanding warrants. I don't want my son going to stay with you, and then people come over at your door. Cops come over at your doorstep, pick you up, and then my son is stuck or getting sent somewhere.
Right.
That's one problem that I have.
Yeah.
Second problem is my mom hasn't had a job for the longest time. She barely just started working again, and for a while she lived with my brother for two or 3 years. After that, she lived with a friend for 2 or 3 years, and now she's living in an apartment in the ghetto in Houston with her and another church friend that she has. So that's another reason I want her family, because she stays in a 2-bedroom apartment with her friend in the ghetto, and I'm not having my son go stay with her.
Sounds like we maybe this what you've got here is a lot of people. Myself, you have Tiffany, Colin came in. Colin is excellent for he's a great set of ears and has great ideas. Sounds like maybe we could get to that. We could brainstorm on that 5th conversation that you need to have. But this time, Manuel, maybe we could help you with what ought to be in that 5th conversation. What do you think, Tiffany?
I agree. Yes, absolutely.
So how do you think the 5th conversation then, my question to you, Manuel, is what would be different about this 5th conversation that is unlike the previous 4? Because you said, Tiffany asked you if you had a 5th conversation, how do you think it would go? I think I heard you say it would be the same and nothing would change. Is that correct? Is that what I thought I heard you say?
Well, in a stamp, I had a conversation with her. How would it go on her end? She probably wouldn't listen, and probably a couple weeks later react and try to make contact with me again. But if I wanted to stop now, I'm gonna have to go as far as cutting her off, like Tiffany said, via phone. I'm gonna have to block her from my phone. Not allowing her social media, and pretty much just not talk to her. Period. And it kind of sucks thinking about it now, but it's also not my fault. So I've tried.
What you have to kind of assess right now, what is the most important? Let me hear you say the top 3 most important things in your life right now, that if you lost them, you would repeat what your mom's going through with losses, and you would deal with losses. Right now, you're hanging on to not lose what the most important things in your life, and your mother's on that list. She's just down below. I assume she's below your wife and your kids right now. She's number 4 or 5 maybe.
She's probably in the lower top 10, lower 10 probably.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose. You want a healthy relationship with your mother, if possible.
Like I said, I've tried, but it's to a point where I just need to stop trying.
Yeah. Colin, if you want to take a seat and carry that out. But yes, he's asking a really good question. Manuel, what is your ideal scenario? And I'll hop off if Colin would like to pick it up. But I would like to get to that 5th conversation. We could help you brainstorm on what could be in that, what things, and maybe take notes, Manuel. Yeah. So, Colin, if you want to step in, I'll hop out. Just let me know in the chat. He might be busting over there to say some things. He's got some. Oh, he wants me to sit tight. Okay.
And another thing I was going to bring up is sometimes it does have to get to that point where detrimental measures need to be taken in order for people to wake up. To see that their behavior is not acceptable. Like, really, it's not acceptable. And if they love you and care about you so much to where they don't want to not be a part of your life, that might be a wake-up call for them. I mean, I know in the past I've been in situations where if people didn't do certain things and play tough love, I wouldn't have learned some of the most important lessons in my life.
Yeah.
And it took that person standing up to me, even though it was hard at the time. But you know what? I went back later and I said, thank you. And I respected that person so much. And thank you for not being codependent with me.
Right.
Like I needed that. And you were the one that saw what I needed. And even though it was hard on you, you did it anyways, because you really, truly love me. That's what true love people, like, that's what you do. And it's not about the feelings or emotions or whatever. It's about doing what's right for that person and for yourself. And sometimes it does take a huge wake-up call.
Can I ask you, Emmanuel, what kind of relationship your mother currently has with your dad? How would you characterize it? Do they talk?
They speak when they need to. It got to a point where they didn't talk at all. And recently, after my dad went through his second divorce, he kind of went through an epiphany stage, and kind of about 2 years after his second divorce, he went through a stage where he didn't know what he wanted in life. And then after a while, he figured out what he was doing was that he just needed to stop doing what he was doing. And so he took the time out and sent apology letters to my mom and to my dad and forgave them for what they did and stuff like that. Well, my mom took the forgiving letter as okay, yeah, he forgives me and I can try to call him and ask him stuff anytime he wants letter. So my dad only talks to my mom when my mom calls him to complain about me or ask about my father-in-law or my grandfather or stuff like that. But it's not often.
And can I ask a question? I don't mean to be personal, Manuel, but why do you feel like you're the bad guy when she talks crap on you? Because to me, like, it seems if you're not the bad guy, like it shouldn't bother you. I mean, even though it may hurt a little bit, but you're the one that knows you the best and you know you. So like for me, when somebody says something about me that is just so rude, like, okay, I had my first hater on YouTube. They told me to kill myself. I was like, thank you. Yes, I have a hater. I made it. And I thank them for the feedback, you know, like I don't care what people say. I know what I am, and your opinion is your opinion. That's your business. It's none of my business. So I was just wondering if you feel like that about yourself. Like,
I mean, I know I'm not the bad guy, but when every time I talk to my brother and my dad over these issues, and they keep telling me all this stuff, and I keep telling them this, it bugs me and irritates me that it just keeps coming out that they are listening to what my mother's feeding them. And I get where my dad's coming from. He's getting from, like, just forgive her so she'll stop calling me and irritating me. So I get where he's coming from. He just doesn't want to hear it all. It's probably the same thing with my brother, but the fact of the matter is that they're just kind of taking one side and rolling with it instead of hearing both sides and like, okay, well,
forgiving her is not going to do anything. I mean,
no.
That's on her. I mean,
Right.
That's not the solution at all, because it's, like I said, you can't change people. You could forgive yourself and forgive yourself for the situation, for whatever part that you played, but forgiving her isn't going to solve that.
Yeah, that's Manuel. Probably the purest meaning of forgiveness is to give up your right to avenge. So forgiveness is really for you, and I'm not going. I'm agreeing with what Tiffany said, but I'm maybe adding a little more insight into what forgiveness really can be. It's for you. Whether she forgives you back or whether anybody forgives you back is almost irrelevant, because when you forgive and truly forgive, you give up your right to avenge them for wrongdoing. In other words, it's like paying their fine in court, even though it hurts. You know, even though you're innocent, you pay their fine for them in a way. Does that make sense? You know, even though you have every right to maybe avenge, you give that right up, and don't carry the dead man on your back. And then you get bitter for it. So I guess we're dealing with triage here. We got several things going on, Tiffany, all at once. Manuel is struggling to keep things together with his family, his marriage, and I would suggest, and Tiffany, see if you agree, and Manuel, if everything does fall apart, the one thing that can't fall apart is your marriage.
Right. Yes.
Right? Do you agree with that, Manuel?
No, I do, and that's one thing where it's like, keep my wife and child safe and happy, or keep dealing with my mother. So it's like, which my mother is causing my wife and child not to be happy, and I don't feel like they're safe when I'm gone working at night, because I have this image of my mother stalking my wife and child because of what had happened previous, and coming over and not being able to deal with that. So my wife and family needs to move here, and my mom kind of needs to move around here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, why don't you do this? Like, okay, we have another week until next week's show. Why don't you really sit down and, after hearing everybody's perspective and stuff, and really sit down and think about your priorities. Think about what's important to you. Think about what's most important to you, what you're willing to sacrifice to, have happiness in your marriage and have your child grow up in a safe, healthy, loving environment where there's no drama. I mean, that's kind of huge. And for your happiness, most of all you, because if you're not happy, if you're not functioning, you're not going to be able to be of use to anything or anyone. And you should really sit down and think about that. And then let us know what you come up with next week, and see if you're really ready to take the next step in moving forward. I mean, if I were you, I would just ignore your mom and come up with something, have some self-reflection time, go inside, spend some quiet time, turn off the TV, don't listen to the radio, like just get with you and your thoughts, and, just listen inside and really feel like, what is it that needs to change? You know inside what it is. It's just sometimes we're out of touch as humans, and we get so busy and everything's noisy. But you should do that. And then I would love it if you come back next week and share with us what you came up with, or if it got worse, or if it got bad, or and then you can always message me, or I'm sure anybody here wouldn't mind during the week if you need advice, or I have people do that all the time. So.
And Manuel too, can I also offer a suggestion? I totally agree with Tiffany that do a blackout week where you just you take a break. I also would suggest, like, tomorrow's Monday, maybe invite your wife out on a date Thursday night, maybe.
That's a
go to a neutral ground, go away from the house, go somewhere neutral, and buy her a pizza or something. And
well,
huh?
So we just got done celebrating our 4-year anniversary on the 1st.
Congratulations.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congrats on that. Right. My suggestion, though, is to let your wife hear your heart, on the entire matter, to reassure her that you're completely aware of the struggle and what's happening, and just remind her that that you are taking measures, and whatever you need to do. I mean, just have that time. If you didn't do it on your honeymoon, or your anniversary, then maybe take this separate time to steal away with her just for a little while and share your heart a little bit, tonight with her, kind of like what you did with us tonight. Share your heart, and maybe let her know that you value her opinion, and then maybe you guys could come up with something, and then if you come back next week with Tiffany, then
Absolutely.
have some get to some of those points in the fifth conversation.
Yeah.
Women love that. Women love it when you share your heart. JP is so right. I mean, and do something that's not normal. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be scheduled. GP brought up such a good point. Why didn't I think of that? I'm a girl.
I don't know. Yeah, you were about to say it. Awesome. It's great meeting you, Manuel.
Thanks for the.
Yes, and thank you for coming on. So I hope you'll join us next week. And
If I'm not, you guys do it around this time every night or every morning.
Yeah, we're
Colin is said something so true, and it's actually humorous. He says it's too easy to hold on to the memory of Santa Claus, even though they have long since left the building. Try to find middle ground, but be open to the possibility of having to distance yourself from negativity, Manuel. Thank you so much, Colin. Okay, so we've gone 22 minutes over. I will go ahead and open up a new window if you guys want to keep participating, but just for the sake of my recordings for the show, I'm going to go ahead and close out. So, Sam, can you open up another window for me? I'm not sure how I go about doing that. So I hope wait, don't do it yet though. I mean, don't leave yet. I hope you all have a really good week. And again, we'll be here next Sunday at 10 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Manuel, I wish you the best. And again, message me or any one of us, I'm sure, would love to give you advice if you need it. And I wish you the best in your adventure this week. And I'm sure you'll find out some really crucial information if you look within and listen. And everybody else, have a good one. Thanks for being here. See you next week.